He was just the janitor, until the university manager insulted him in front of everyone. But when the CEO arrived and revealed the truth, everything changed. What happened next left the whole room speechless. It was a bright Monday morning at the prestigious Hillcrest University. Students bustled around with excitement, preparing for the upcoming scholarship ceremony. Among them stood Mr. Elijah Carter, an elderly janitor who had worked at the university for nearly 35 years. Humble and quiet, he swept the steps outside the administration building as he did every morning, unnoticed by most. Today, however, the university manager, Mr. Donald Greaves, had his eyes on Elijah. With his usual arrogance, Donald sneered and walked toward the old man with visible disgust. "Why are you still here, old man?" Donald barked, looking Elijah up and down with contempt. "You're nothing more than a waste of space. Clean and get out of the way before the real guests arrive." A few students nearby turned their heads, shocked at the harsh tone. Elijah, with dignity in his eyes, simply nodded and continued sweeping. He had endured insults before, but something about today felt different. He looked toward the university gates with anticipation, as if waiting for someone important. Inside the grand auditorium, the dean and several faculty members were busy finalizing the stage for the keynote speaker of the day, a young, highly successful black CEO named Marcus Carter. Few knew much about him, only that he had turned a struggling tech startup into a billion-dollar empire. Invitations had gone out to top alumni and press. What no one realized was that Marcus Carter was more than just a speaker. He had a personal connection to the school that no one had guessed. A sleek black car pulled up outside the bank, and a well-dressed black woman stepped out. She wore a crisp navy blue suit, her hair pulled back neatly, and her heels clicked with authority. She was Ava Morrison, the newly appointed CEO of Monarch National Bank. Unknown to Peter, she had come for a surprise visit to evaluate customer service personally. As she entered, her eyes immediately found the elderly man walking out. "Dad," she called, her voice filled with concern. The old man turned, surprised, and a smile of relief crossed his face. She rushed to him, gently taking his arm. "What happened here? Why are you leaving?" she asked, scanning the room. The lobby fell silent, and the manager's smug face paled. Peter stepped forward, still unaware of who she was. "Ma'am, this gentleman had questionable documents. I was just doing my job." Ava narrowed her eyes and replied calmly, "This gentleman is my father." The bank staff gasped, a few even dropped their pens. Peter stumbled over his words, I didn't know. "I mean, you judged him based on how he looked," Ava interrupted, her voice firm but composed. "You humiliated a loyal customer without checking the system or verifying facts." She turned to her assistant, who had just entered behind her. "Pull up the security footage and get me this manager's employee record," she said. The mood shifted from arrogance to anxiety in seconds. Ava guided her father to a seat in the VIP lounge, ensuring he had water and comfort. Then she returned to the counter, where Peter stood stiffly, trying to defend himself. "I was just protecting the bank's interests," he insisted, sweat forming at his brow. "And how often do you question elderly white clients this way?" Ava shot back. The question hung heavy in the air, and Peter had no answer. The staff began murmuring, ashamed of what they had witnessed in silence. Ava addressed them all. Silence in the face of injustice is complicity. She turned to the crowd, now growing as people. Elijah hesitated, then walked slowly to the podium. "I've been invisible most of my life," he said softly, voice slightly trembling. "But my son saw me. And he made sure the world did too. Not by shouting or fighting, but by working hard and never forgetting his roots." Tears welled in a few eyes across the crowd. Even students stood to their feet in quiet respect. Don't judge people by their job. You never know who they're raising. By the time Marcus resumed his speech, the atmosphere had completely shifted. No longer just a keynote, it became a life lesson. When the event ended, Marcus made one final announcement: Carter Tech will fund full scholarships for students from working-class families, and will name it after my father. The crowd gave a standing ovation. Mr. Greaves quietly slipped out the back door, ashamed and exposed. Word spread quickly, and by evening, he had been suspended pending review. That day became a defining moment in Hillcrest University's history. Not just because a billionaire CEO had spoken, but because a father's quiet dignity had spoken louder than any title ever could. Elijah Carter returned to his post the next day as usual, broom in hand, but now with students nodding respectfully as they passed. As for Marcus, he reminded everyone watching that greatness isn't born in boardrooms, it's shaped in silence, by the hands of those who never stop believing in us.